What's up everybody, D-Man back, welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla -2 news and updates. In this Shinsaku Gojira news and updates, we're going to be talking about some merch, some figures, we're going to dive deep on some Godzilla alternate designs that I think give a huge indication on where Godzilla's design could be heading in the next Godzilla film, and how Godzilla might have a really tragic and messed up and kind of disgusting design. And we're also going to be talking about Toho's president's comments on Godzilla -1's success and where we can expect the franchise to head next. Let's get into it. Starting out, I want to show off some artwork like always, and this first piece comes to us from Kaiju Artists. This is their Rainbow Godzilla -1. I think it's really cool. I think it's super dope. It reminds me a lot of the rainbowish beam that Godzilla could spit out in the PS4 game, if you remember that. There was like a spiral ray that wasn't red, and it was kind of rainbow. Also a little Mecha Godzilla-ish, but it's really cool. It also reminds me of some of the concept art for Godzilla King of the Monsters, which was originally going to feature Burning Godzilla having some sort of super beam attack. Next up, this one's great. This is Mechagodzilla 3's Godzilla throwback poster. It's great. It really does capture the vibe of those early Godzilla posters from the Showa series. This one definitely gives like 54 meets Raids Again vibes. I love the pictures they've used down there as reference down to the bottom. Akitsu turning around and yelling back on the ship. You've got Shikishima's family down there, including little Akiko, and then Godzilla looking just terrifying, storming over the city with the red smoke behind him. It looks great. This one's a very nice throwback poster, and I really wish if there was ever a time for a Godzilla movie to have a throwback poster, it would have been -1. I really wish they had gone for it, and I'm kind of sad that they didn't, but I'm alright with it. You know, I really like the -1 poster. Tuzaha Animation shared this still from their upcoming Godzilla Infinity fan project, and this one's just so beautiful. This is an art piece in and of itself. Godzilla leaping out of the water, kind of like a whale, but with that beautiful glowing bioluminescence. It also looks like the water itself has a bit of bioluminescence to it, and I'm a really big fan of their Godzilla redesign, so that's one of the reasons I'm covering this project so carefully, as well as the fact that it continues to occasionally trick people into thinking it's leaked photos from -2, so I want to stay on top of it so that people don't think they're leaked photos. This is wild, but Godzilla the Art is having a new The Sun and Moon Cafe collaboration. This is a Goji inspired dessert with the Godzilla -1-esque spines sticking off of it. They've done actually a pretty solid job recreating the texture of Godzilla's skin on whatever this is, whatever this little dessert is, and then those spines are pretty impressive. I feel like I would be very allergic to this, but I'm sure it was yummy for those who could eat it. And you remember in a previous video I mentioned that there was randomly a brand new Godzilla -1 poster that was discovered. I'm pretty sure it's because Bottleneck NYC is releasing very similar versions of that poster. As you can see here, they teased that they have upcoming Godzilla -1 posters coming out, and one of the ones they teased here is this Godzilla color version of that new Godzilla -1 poster. It's pretty sick. Obviously kind of taking the imagery of Godzilla getting bombed and then coming out of the smoke and combining it with the imagery of Godzilla towering over Noriko. I wish I could afford these. These seem very stylish and I'd rock these all day long if I had to dress up. Some brand new Father's Day Godzilla dress clothes were revealed. So there's a blue shirt with this little Godzilla G on it. It's pretty cool. It's got like spines sticking off the back of the G. I really like the tie version of it with the G's all over the tie. I love the tie with Godzilla's spine pattern down at the bottom. That's really nice. And together those are the new Godzilla dress clothes set that they've released. I think that's pretty cool. Banpresto has revealed their Godzilla series Godzilla -1 in the water diorama. It did release finally. I actually don't know why it says Crane Game at the top. Maybe you can win it in a Crane Game, but you can just buy this thing online. It's pretty cool. I like the sculpt. Godzilla looks great. The paint job looks great. Overall, it's a pretty cool figure. It does run you for $35, so I don't think I'm gonna get this one, but it's pretty neat. Godzilla Festival Morioka was announced. It is being held from July 30th until August 24th. I don't even know where Morioka, Japan is. But this Godzilla Fest comes with a brand new poster that a lot of people were pretty hyped about because it features a never before seen render of Godzilla -1. We've never seen this angle of him, and he looks fantastic. What a great look at his gills. I think it's a very underrated and underappreciated fact that after Gareth Edwards introduced gills on Godzilla in Godzilla 2014, we've had gills on Godzilla ever since, and they've looked fantastic. Just what a wonderfully nice addition to the character. I guess retroactively we decided that some of those suit holes in the necks of Godzilla are gills, but these gills look great. This is a really cool image of him. It also really highlights the scar on his cheek, so I thought that was really cool. I like this poster a lot, wanted to show it off. The big drop for this this Godzilla Expo is that they will be featuring the new Jet Jaguar and Gigan suits that were featured in the recent Godzilla Day short films. Those are on display there, so that's pretty sweet if you can go check those out. Recently, a whole bunch of concept art and stuff popped up from Godzilla -1. Now, I believe this comes from the record of G-1, but it's mostly being circulated by people like Kaiju14 and Mr. Goji. This one was posted by Mr. Goji, and it features the original My Goji model, the original model for Godzilla -1, and what a gnarly, nasty looking freak he is. What the heck? Look at those Shin Godzilla styled teeth. It's like Shin Godzilla got pack-a-punched. Those teeth are so dangerous looking. This Godzilla looks way more frail and way more scary. Obviously, Godzilla -1's my favorite Godzilla design ever. The spines on this one also look all chewed up. This Godzilla looks like if you took -1 and put him through a paper shredder and then pulled him back out. Not in a really bad way, just in a way of like, it's early on. They didn't really nail down the design yet. There was a lot of work to go from here to the final design. I think it's pretty cool, actually. This makes me wonder, is this the direction we're heading in a Godzilla -1 sequel? We're going to talk about that throughout this video. But as I recently discussed on the channel, the concept art for Godzilla -1 might give us a little bit of an indication on where we're heading in a sequel. A lot of the concept art features a really webby looking Godzilla. As you can see here, a lot of this concept art looks like really webby Godzilla. Like, the textures on him are so different from the textures we got in the final movie. And the spines on this Godzilla design are really different from the spines we get in the final movie. He looks a lot more skeletal, a lot more withered, a lot more injured. It looks like maybe a Godzilla who's mid-regeneration. Maybe early on Godzilla was supposed to take a lot more damage and slowly regenerate, or maybe he was supposed to look like a lot more of an atomic victim with all of this scar tissue all over his body. Either way, this could be where we're heading in the future, and as you can see, this would be a pretty interesting direction to go. Kaiju14 even shared this image of an earlier version of Godzilla's scarred face. It is pretty webby here. It's got this like star splashed across his face. It even looks like his eye has been completely sealed over, like it's completely white now, like he can't see out of it anymore, all showing just early design processes for -1. And it hasn't really been discussed a lot, but the Wikizilla page actually features tons of great concept art and models for Godzilla -1 that, yeah, like I said, I don't see many people talking about. We actually have another look from a different angle of that Godzilla with the kind of like blasted apart face. I guess he does have a pupil in there, but I think it does look very milky, like he probably couldn't see out of that very well. We have a really early look at the Godzilla model that shows he started out looking a lot more like the Godzilla from Always, the Always movie. Always Sunset on 3rd Street 2, I believe is what it's called. That's of course the first time director Takashi Yamazaki got to use Godzilla, and it seems like they started there and then took that design and slowly built it out into the Godzilla -1 design, as you can see here. And they made lots of tweaks along the way, including increasing the size of those dorsal spines. But most of the concept art for the movie features a very webby looking Godzilla. He's very skeletal and really sells the injury and tragedy of Godzilla. I would think in a sequel to Godzilla -1, we're going to be heading even more away from this Godzilla design that looks a little more like that Always Godzilla design. As you can see, it kind of starts with that Always design. We take it to Godzilla the Ride, and then from Godzilla the Ride, we take it to -1, which just leaves that interesting middle period. What is this design, the chewed up one with the big teeth? It leaves that one as a sort of question mark as to where that comes in, which makes me think maybe there was an idea early on to show a lot more battle damage happening to Godzilla and to have him be a lot more of a victim, which I do think could play into Godzilla's design in a sequel. Either that, or it could be much more like the design we talk about at the end, which is a lot stronger of a design rather than leaning into the frail victim side of Godzilla, leaning more into the powerful, vengeful side of him. But in order to get there, I must first talk about how Toho's president, Hiroyasu Matsuoka, discussed the international success of Godzilla -1 and kind of where Toho's heading in the future. In an extended interview I've got linked down below, you can go read it for yourself, where Toho's president, Matsuoka, is asked about how the Japanese government is responding to the film industry's growing demands, we learn a little bit. First of all, he discusses how the government has shown no signs of helping support the Japanese film industry, and how it's up to companies like Toho to increase the industry standards themselves. Mainly, he says that it's important for companies to start boosting budgets by an estimated 20%, including paying workers much better. I don't know why I got so yelled at back in the day, like back when Godzilla -1 came out, for bringing this up, but one of the main reasons Godzilla -1's budget was so low, around $10 million, is because workers in Japan are not paid competitively, alright? They're just simply not paid as much as they should be for the work they're doing, and they're paid far, far, far less than their counterparts in the United States and even in the US. Most below-the-line crew members are not paid well. So it's nice to see that Toho's president is directly acknowledging this, saying that their goal is to start paying people better and slowly increasing budgets to an estimate of around 20% bigger than what they currently are. He does reveal that the Japanese government is encouraging more films to get the -1 treatment, which proved that there is a home for Japanese live-action IP outside of Japan. Of course, -1 was a pretty big deal, as it was a big release for a Japanese live-action film internationally. He also mentions how lucky Toho was to be able to be the ones who distributed Godzilla -1 internationally themselves, as it gave them the bulk of the earnings from the movie, rather than having to split their profits, with 2/3 going to the third-party distributor, as is typically the case. He says that this is a privilege that Toho has that many other Japanese studios simply do not, as they don't have the money for it. This is why he believes the Japanese government should be helping Japanese studios out. He explains that they hope tourism picks up, because one of Toho's most successful attractions is the Godzilla statue in Shinjuku, although the statue alone doesn't provide any revenue. However, you can go to a Toho cinemas nearby and buy all sorts of Godzilla goods. There's also a Godzilla store not too far from there, and also, of course, the Godzilla Hotel itself, which probably brings in a lot of money. Although I don't know how much of that Toho owns. I'd assume all of it, considering they also have a Toho cinema in it. He says that they do want to expand the Godzilla stores because the current ones are such a huge success. There seems to be, however, little interest in providing a physical Godzilla store in the United States or internationally, simply due to the amount of tourism that the Godzilla stores in Japan bring in, but they are exploring opportunities to expand and meet growing demand, such as in the United States, and he does recognize the success of the online US Godzilla store and does express interest in expanding it, which I guess I understand both sides of. It'd be nice to have Godzilla stores in the United States. It would certainly be cool. I suppose I can understand the logic of being like, we want you to come to us, but that's so expensive and unrealistic. If you bring a Godzilla store to the US, we will buy from it, as we proved with the online one. He then celebrates how many fans traveled to Japan to watch Godzilla -1, and while there, he says it's important for Toho to have Toho cinemas near hotels so that people who do stuff like that can watch movies in Japan while they travel. He says that they were worried that the success of Godzilla -1 might be like a one-time thing, and so they don't want to really find out by having a flop released, and that's why they actually partnered with G-Kids, who is a distributor. G-Kids will be distributing Toho films overseas more aggressively than previously. This actually leads directly into the Shin Godzilla re-release, which will be coming out this August, which G-Kids is distributing. I think it might be a bit of a testing ground to see how G-Kids can do distributing Godzilla films internationally. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I want to give a huge shout out to Mr. Frogman over on YouTube for being a part of D-Force, getting to my last Godzilla news and update right away, and just leaving a really nice comment. It meant a lot to me to read that. I really appreciate that. Shout out to you and your friend, and I'm so thankful to everybody who supports me and to those who have supported me for all this time. I really appreciate that. So big thank you. And as always, I'd like to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. It is through the support of the Patreon that I'm able to continue to make videos like this for you. If you want to support the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. And if that's not your thing, please consider joining as a channel member. They're both the most direct ways to support this channel, and it really goes a long way. Thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time for the next one. D-Man, out.